Have you ever met someone who has very few friends, maybe even none, and you wondered what was wrong with them? Our society quietly teaches us that popularity equals happiness. The more friends you have, the more normal you must be. The person surrounded by people at every party is seen as socially successful, but the quiet person with only one or two close relationships, or sometimes no one at all, is often judged without anyone truly understanding their psychology. But here's the truth. Having few friends does not automatically mean someone is lonely, broken, antisocial, or incapable of connection. In fact, many people with very small social circles have personalities and psychological traits that are deeply misunderstood. So today we're going to explore the psychology of a person with few friends. And by the end of this video, you may realize that the person with the smallest circle in the room might actually understand people better than everyone else. One of the first psychological reasons some people have few friends is emotional selectiveness. Some people are not wired to collect relationships. They are wired to evaluate them. While others may easily form friendships based on proximity, convenience, or shared environments like school or work, highly selective people often evaluate relationships more carefully. They pay attention to energy, authenticity, and emotional safety. And because of this, they may unconsciously filter out many people, not because they think they are better than others, but because they sense when a relationship does not feel genuine. These people often value depth over quantity. They would rather have one person they can speak honestly with for hours than 10 acquaintances who only talk about surface-level topics. Psychologically, this type of person often has high self-awareness and strong emotional boundaries, and boundaries naturally reduce the number of people who remain in someone's life. Another important factor is mental energy. Social interaction requires cognitive effort. Every conversation involves reading facial expressions, interpreting tone, responding appropriately, and managing emotional signals. For highly introspective people, this process can be mentally exhausting. Psychologists often refer to this as social energy expenditure. Extroverts gain energy through interaction, but introverts lose energy through prolonged social engagement. This doesn't mean introverts dislike people. It means their nervous system processes stimulation differently. After spending time in groups, they often need solitude to mentally recharge. Because of this, they may naturally maintain fewer friendships, simply because their social capacity is lower, not their social ability. There is also another psychological factor that many people overlook: trust. Some people have few friends because their life experiences taught them to be cautious with emotional access. If someone has experienced betrayal, abandonment, manipulation, or deep disappointment in past relationships, their brain learns something very powerful. It learns that connection carries risk. So over time, the mind begins to protect itself. Instead of quickly trusting new people, it becomes slower, more careful, more observant. To outsiders, this can look like distance or disinterest, but internally, it is often a form of self-protection. The person is not incapable of friendship. They simply take longer to feel safe, and safety is the foundation of real connection. Another interesting psychological pattern among people with few friends is independent identity development. Many individuals rely heavily on social feedback to shape their self-image. Their opinions, preferences, and beliefs are often influenced by group approval. But people who spend more time alone tend to develop their identity internally. They think about their values. They question their beliefs. They reflect deeply on experiences. This process is called internal validation. Instead of needing constant social reinforcement, they build their sense of self from introspection, and this often leads to stronger individuality. The downside is that highly independent thinkers sometimes feel disconnected from group dynamics, because group conversations often revolve around shared assumptions. When someone thinks differently or questions social norms, they may feel like they don't fully belong, so they keep their circle smaller, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. There is also a surprising relationship between intelligence and social circle size. Research has shown that people who are highly analytical or intellectually curious often prefer fewer relationships. This happens because their conversations tend to revolve around complex topics, ideas, and deeper discussions, and not everyone enjoys or relates to those kinds of conversations. So over time, these individuals may naturally gravitate toward fewer but more intellectually stimulating relationships. They are not socially incapable. They simply prefer meaningful exchanges over constant social interaction. Another important psychological dimension is emotional observation. People with small circles often spend more time observing human behavior. Because they are not constantly talking, they are constantly noticing. They notice body language. They notice contradictions between words and actions. They notice patterns in how people treat others. This heightened awareness can sometimes make social environments feel overwhelming or even disappointing. When someone becomes skilled at reading human behavior, they may quickly recognize insincerity, manipulation, or superficial interactions. And once they notice these patterns, they may choose distance rather than participation. This is why many people with few friends appear quiet in social settings. They are not disengaged. They are analyzing. But having few friends does not mean someone is immune to loneliness. Humans are fundamentally social beings. Even the most independent personalities still need some level of connection. And sometimes the person with very few friends may quietly struggle with feelings of isolation, especially in environments that glorify popularity. Social media can amplify this feeling. Seeing images of large friend groups, parties, and social gatherings can create the illusion that everyone else is constantly surrounded by people. But social psychology tells us something interesting. Many of those large social networks are not emotionally deep. They are socially wide, which means someone can have many contacts but very few genuine connections. In contrast, someone with a small circle may experience deeper emotional intimacy in their relationships. They know the person truly understands them, and that type of connection can be far more fulfilling than constant social activity. Another psychological reason people have few friends is personal growth phases. During periods of self-development, people often become more selective about who they allow into their lives. They may outgrow certain friendships. They may distance themselves from negative environments. They may focus on personal goals, healing, or career development. And during these phases, their social circle may shrink temporarily. But this is not necessarily a loss. Sometimes it is a transition, because as people evolve, their relationships evolve too. The friends who remain are usually those who align with their new direction. There is also something powerful about solitude that many people misunderstand. Solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of unwanted isolation. Solitude is the choice to spend time with oneself. And for some individuals, solitude becomes a space for creativity, reflection, and emotional clarity. Many artists, thinkers, writers, and innovators throughout history lived with very small social circles, because solitude allowed their minds to wander freely. It allowed ideas to form without constant external influence, and it allowed them to understand themselves on a deeper level. But there is one more important psychological insight. People with few friends often value loyalty more than social variety. When someone keeps their circle small, the people inside that circle become extremely important. Trust is deeper, support is stronger, and betrayal is felt more intensely, because each relationship carries significant emotional weight. This is why losing even one close friendship can feel devastating for someone with a small circle. But it also means the friendships they do maintain are often incredibly meaningful. So the next time you see someone who seems to have very few friends, pause before assuming something is wrong. That person may simply think differently about relationships. They may prefer depth over numbers, truth over popularity, connection over attention. And in a world that often values visibility more than authenticity, the quiet person with the smallest circle might actually be the one who understands people the most. Sometimes fewer friends does not mean less connection. Sometimes it means better connection. And sometimes the strongest relationships in life are not the loudest ones. They are the quiet ones that never need to prove themselves.